Going live. There it is. We are live.
Boom.
Not even
What
a
up?
3, 2, 1. We're just live. We're just going.
Just straight
We're
live.
just
That's how
rocking
it
it.
works.
Yeah, because
All
this
right,
is
cool.
what happens. And for 2 days now, we're going early here. It is 2:00, and we're just gonna get this party started. You ready? Let's do it.
The Carrier Experience Podcast is a show for anyone who wants to grow their agency and be a titan of the insurance industry. Learn from a panel of experts who share their agency struggles, their experiences with the nation's best carriers, and share the marketing secrets that successful insurance agents are using today. Now, here's your host, the insurance bro, James Cias.
Insurance bro.
I love it. So it's kind of crazy that we're doing this, 2:00 again. It's interesting to me, before we jump into anything, really quickly, to have this show going on early, because we've got 2 podcasts every day. You are going to be doing 3 podcasts at least today, because you just did one about like an hour ago, maybe. We're doing this one right now, and then we have our 4:00 Business Bros show. I mean, it's wild, and you're in the middle of
Real estate
transactions. You got all kinds of stuff going on, so just like trying to squeeze
every minute you possibly can out of every single day.
What does your calendar look like right now?
It looks horrible, bro. There's stuff where I worry. I mean, so I got a 3:00 showing, but I also got a phone call at 3:00 that I have on my calendar. Starts to overlap a little bit. There's small little things here and there, but this is one of those things where you live and die by the calendar, which is a good thing. But then you really start to break down. So now I'm starting to look at my calendar and really think about what is the time frame necessary for this particular activity. Am I blocking out a whole hour, or do I need to scale that down and be like, you know what, this is a 15-minute block out. That opens 45 minutes up to do other things. My mind just thinks in whole numbers. So I'm like, from 3 to 4, I'm blocked out. But that's not always the case. Sometimes it's a good thing, though, because you finish something, you get a little bit of time to catch up on something else. But it's just go the last few days.
It's pretty wild, pretty crazy, but not a bad problem to have during COVID.
Not at all. But before we get started with the show, remind everybody to please subscribe, like, and follow us on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on here today. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a hit that subscribe button. Leave us a review if you can. Would really appreciate that. All of that is going to help us show up higher on the search results, so that other awesome agents who are looking for good value and education can find us more readily. And of course, don't forget to follow me on all social media at Insurance Broham. And if you would like to be a guest, if you'd like to be on the program, give me a holler. Go over to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest. Quick little intake form to schedule your time, and you can pick whatever date works for you on your calendar. So would love to have you on as a guest, whoever you are. Yes, you. I'm talking to you, whoever's listening right now. You. Yes, you.
Yes, you. All right. So today's awesome show, fun show, we're getting into this article from Dynamis. Dynamis. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
10 insurance sales strategies to win more business. Let's face it, that's what we're all about, dude. I mean,
That's what we're here for.
It's what we're here for. So a little heads up. I had actually a guy on the show on the Business Bros show earlier, and we were talking about TikTok. Yeah, growing your company on TikTok, and he has a great strategy. And he was talking about how he puts together different types of content and helps people kind of narrow down the content that they're creating. After the show, after he explained all the processes that he does, he helps people basically create an audience in their particular niche. And then from that audience, he helps them create a funnel to take the content that you're creating, the attention that you're creating, puts them in the funnel so that the person can close more business. And the structure that he has is great, and the service he has is great. And then after the show was over, I was like, hey man, what does that like run? What does that cost to do your program? And this is what I found fascinating, because he really understands that I'm going after a specific type of individual. I'm not going after everybody. If you're trying to sell to everybody, you're trying to reach everybody, you're going to reach no one. His target is $7,000 to start and then $7,000 a month. And he's telling you that he's going to be able to bring in enough leads and sales so that you can cover that $7,000 that you're spending. Now, he did say that the program that he has is for people who have high ticket items, $3,000 or more for that particular item. So, it's a little bit different, but man, when you know exactly, and the way he came off too, when I asked him about the price, he was like, yeah, it's $7,000 a month start. So it's 14 the first month. And then we go 7 after that. Confidence in his voice. Right. Yeah. And that's something that if you're in sales, whatever it is that you're coming down with your own particular, the premium that you're looking at, whatever, you have to have the confidence to talk about.
You just say the number.
Yeah, say the number. This is what it is. This is what we do. And this is what we offer. This is what you're covering. And boom. So I just wanted to kind of share that before we get into some of these sales strategies. The confidence in your own product or service, in your own capability, is vitally important.
So 100%, just kind of starting that off, when you were talking about how to close the sale and 10 tips on closing the sale here, one of those really is when you say the price, say it with confidence. You don't know what their budget is. You don't know what a high price or a low price is to them. And, we're talking about selling on coverages anyway. So, when you're making sure that you're protecting the person that you're selling a policy to, you're selling on the coverages, not on the price. So just tell them what the price is with the utmost confidence. You're doing the right thing for them.
All right, let's get into this article.
Speaking of which,
10 sales strategies for insurance agents, right?
So the very first one,
10 insurance sales strategies to win more business. So here we go. The very first one is to educate before selling.
This is exactly what I was just saying. When we're selling on coverages, this is what we're doing. We're educating our customers. We're telling them, hey, look, this is why you need this specific type of policy. These are the things that could happen. Did you know that driving your car could cost you your home? Right? Simple things like that. But then it's also a matter of taking those coverages and explaining each and every one. You've got in your homeowner's policy, your coverage A, coverage B, coverage C, coverage D, explaining what all these different ones are, your common endorsements like personal injury and identity theft, water backup, scheduled personal property, all of these different things, taking that time to actually educate the client and telling them why you're recommending these coverages and these products is what's really going to make the difference. In commercial insurance, even more so, because there's so freaking much that goes into commercial insurance, and that's one of the things that I really love about this show and the people that we're going to be bringing on here, that we get the opportunity to learn from them what all of these different coverages mean, so that we can pass that education on to our customers.
Bringing them value. Look, and this is funny because this is going to lead into the next strategy that we're going to be talking about here. Educating before you're selling and getting active on social media. So again, I was having that conversation with Jesus over at the Business Bros podcast just a little while ago, and he was talking about some of the best content that you can create when you're active on social media is to educate. And I was sharing with him how my wife goes on TikTok all the time, and she uses it like a search engine. She's like, how do I make an apple pie? And she'll go on TikTok and type it in, and boom, there's people who are giving you instructions on how to do something 60 seconds at a time. Sure, you can go on Google and do it. Sure, you can go on YouTube and do it, but it's really shrunk down the information in little bite-sized chunks that people can consume. So for you to educate the seller, for you to consume something and be like, oh, you know what? I did not know that before. That is the value that you want to bring to your clients on a regular basis. Taking 100%. That commercial policy that's massive and then breaking it down into small chunks so that they can understand it and putting that stuff on social media, that is you bringing value to your clients on a regular basis. And that is the person, and you become the person that they're going to go to because you're the person that they come to for that kind of information. That 100%. That type of information, that type of education is going to generate leads beyond the one client that you're talking to on social media, because you're educating more than that person. Sure, you may be answering the question for one person who asked you the question, but you're providing that solution for multiple people to see, and now you're that resource.
It's what we talked about yesterday. Yesterday, one of the tips was to create content marketing, right? Or content creation, basically. And that's exactly what we're talking about. When we're talking about getting active on social media, when we're talking about educating clients first, it's having that content strategy that we're going to put out all of this value, we're going to give you all of this information, we're going to tell you all of the reasons why you need to have all of these different coverages on social media, blasting it out to everybody, creating our brands, and making sure that, you know, people know who we are, what we're doing, and, you know, like we always say, getting in front of as many people as possible, telling them exactly what it is that we do. Social media is a fantastic tool for that, whether it's, you know, Facebook Live or Instagram stories or podcasts.
Exactly. All right, let's move into
Number three.
Find ways to stand out.
Finding
Tyron.
ways to stand out. It's cool. You know, I think that one of the ways that we stand out is this. It's this podcast. It's you know, things that we do that are different from everybody else. When we tell people that we do not just one but two podcasts every day, we get looks like, man, you guys are crazy, you guys are nuts. But this is one of the things that we do to differentiate. This is one of the things that we do to stand out. When people see our logo, when people see these little guys up here, they're part of the brand. They're part of the things that they recognize. They know who we are. They know what we do. They're going to see us more and more and more and more and more. And that's the whole point of this thing, is that we're going to stand out. We're going to be recognized. We're going to be seen. And that gives us credibility in a huge, huge way. What were your thoughts on finding ways to stand out?
I'm reminded of a guest that we had on the Business Bros podcast, Jeremy Coombs, and he had a fun meter, right? And he wears this fun meter everywhere he goes. And it's just this little clip that he wears on, you know, all the time. And it's got a little, I don't know what, a little lever or whatever on it. Little arrow on it. And he can adjust the meter. So he can be like not having very much fun or a lot of fun, right? And that little, and he's the type of person who everywhere he goes, he brings the energy. Mm-hmm, and that is part, you know, who you are and how you act with people is how you stand out. If you're, you know, introverted, you don't have that much energy and you're just kind of sitting in the corner, you're not going to stand out very much. But if you have a great customer service or a great customer experience through your processes, that is another way that you can stand out. 100%. Standing out doesn't necessarily mean you have to come in and be the life of the party or the one who has all the energy in the room. That definitely helps, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it has to be. So, you know, you can have your own little brand. Maybe you're the guy, you know, Century 21 has the same type of thing. They wear the gold jackets, right? Or they used to anyways back in the day. But it's the way that you stand out. How do you differentiate above everybody else? What is it that makes you different? Everybody who has a PNC license is an insurance agent. What makes you different?
Other things, other ways to stand out is niching down. That's a huge way, is making sure that you are the person that knows everything there is to know about insurance for restaurants. You're the guy that knows everything there is to know about insurance for the construction industry, or specifically maybe for roofers. And so all the roofers in the area know that when they go to you, they have the most knowledge and, you know, the best representative for them in that field. So another way to stand out is just to niche down.
All right. Number 4.
Moving on.
Practice.
This is a great one. It's especially important, in my opinion, for new agents, brand new agents who are just getting into it. You have so much to learn, so friggin' much to learn. And you know what? When you're 6 years in or 20 years in, like, you know, Mike, or 27 years in, like the president of our company, you know, whatever the case might be, you never stop learning. You're never going to know it all. There's always going to be things that you don't know. But the more that you practice, the more that you're going to learn. You're going to make mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes, because those mistakes are teaching moments. Those mistakes are lessons learned. Those are the things that you're going to take and say, okay, well, I'm never going to do that again. Or I'm going to make sure that when I sell this, I'm going to offer this, you know, this other policy, this other coverage. Practice. Writing insurance, actually, the process of writing insurance is nothing more than data entry. It doesn't take very much practice to type somebody's name and, you know, their stats into a form, into a system, into an online platform. That isn't the hard part. The hard part is knowing which coverages are important to your customer and knowing how to present those coverages and sell that policy, making sure that your customer understands that they're getting this policy with these coverages, with these endorsements for this specific reason. Practice your sales pitch, practice your coverage options, practice teaching and educating your insureds so that they know exactly what they're buying and why they're buying it. More to add?
Yeah, lead generate, lead follow up, present, negotiate, and close, right? So in all those aspects of the dollar productive activities that you should be doing on a regular basis, those are the things that you need to practice the most. And because insurance is such a big animal, there are so many different areas. When you niche down, you narrow the scope that you need to practice on. So it can be something as simple as, what I do every single day. So I write down the list of things that I need to ask somebody when they call me to pre-qualify. Why? Because I write them down every day in my journal in the morning, and that's me practicing my script. I know that these are the 5 key points that I need to ask that every person that comes on the phone with me that is a brand new lead, because if I get this information, I can provide them the best quality service when it comes to their real estate transaction. You as the insurance agent have the same types of things. You should have your own scripts laid out. And, part of it is practicing what you're saying, yes, but the other part to practice what you're saying is knowing what the heck you're going to say. So sometimes writing that stuff down, looking for the loopholes. When you have objections at the end of your presentations, maybe you didn't get the deal, write down the objections. You're going to start to see that there's similarities in every presentation that you have, similarities in the objections that you get. And if you can come ahead of time with the answer to those or embed the answer to those into your presentation, you're going to avoid a lot of those situations. Same type of thing when you have that back end support in the office, when you have the ability to have somebody who has your back and create, your binder packs and do all these other things. Those are services that you can take advantage of in agencies so that you don't have to do that part. You can focus your attention and your practice time on the things that are important to you, which is getting in front of the client, which is presenting, right? Which is negotiating, and which is closing. And everything else gets done for you on the back end, right? That's what you want to have in a brokerage. So if you don't have that as part of your brokerage, or you don't have that as an independent agent, but you do want it, I want you guys to go to www.pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities and check out what we have to offer. You can check out some of our previous shows. We can show you some of the CRMs that we're working with, some of the processes, some of the systems, some of the automations that are already built in place. So if you're trying to build your agency and you just don't know what the next step is, work with a team who has all those steps laid out so you can do what you're good at, which is talk to more people, tell them what it is you do, negotiate those deals, and then close them.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to tip number 5, which is target the right employers. Kind of was looking at this one because I wasn't sure what they were trying to say exactly. But it's kind of a weird one.
Okay,
Go for it. What's your thoughts on this?
So my thought on this is target the right employers. So when I hear this based on the type of insurance policies that our company writes, I'm thinking workers' comp for this personally, right? So target the right employers. It could be, if you're a producer, are you going after people who are specific in an industry? Are you looking for the restaurant people? Are you going for specifically maybe dental offices, right? But trying to go for everybody when it comes to, like example, workers' comp, it gets kind of difficult because there's so many different options. What if you have employees that are, for example, at home right now and they're not going to the office? How is that going to affect your workers' comp policy?
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of different things like that. Targeting the right employers, targeting the right people to go after is crucial in your business.
100%. Yeah, and that was basically what I was getting from it. I was kind of reading on what it says, and it's like, understand and seek out your target client. And that's the exact same thing. Every employer out there isn't your ideal customer. I'm telling you, I was reading it. I shouldn't even read that stupid thing. I should just look at the tips. But yeah, definitely targeting the right employers, niching down like we keep talking about. I think that maybe one of the big things here is, if you're like me, I like you. right? So if you're going after just basically everybody, then you're not necessarily going to have the best results. But if you're going after people that are more like you, then you're probably going to do better. I go back to that story about the guy in the suit that went to the farmer and got his Italian shoes all muddy and his suit all dusty and couldn't close the sale. Right. So that's, targeting the right customers, targeting the right employers, is finding people that are more like you, that you can have a rapport with so that you can make that sale.
All right, and I think number 6 is very similar, but I'm gonna take this in a different route here. Understand your target buyer. When we talk about sales and marketing, we always talk about our avatar. Who is the ideal person that we want to go after? And it's not this is where you really get to niche down. And the funny thing is, I always tell people, look, stereotype the crap out of this particular person. Who is the person that you're after? What age are they? How much income do they have? What do they look like? What area of town do they live in? How many kids does this person have? What else? We can do all kinds of stuff. What kind of shows do they watch, right? If you can really, really stereotype this person, then you're really narrowing down the focus like a laser beam. You're focusing like a laser beam on who this particular individual is. And then when you create content for these particular people, right, when you're trying to sell them a particular policy, you're speaking directly to this one avatar. You're speaking directly to this one person. It just so happens that there are other people that are like that are going to hear your message. But if you understand who your buyer is, if you understand, do an avatar for a male version of that and a female version of that. And those are the people that you ask yourself when you're creating a marketing campaign, when you're creating some sort of promotion, you look back and you're like, and I got this idea from Russell Brunson, by the way. He's a ClickFunnels guy, but he has Mike and Julie. Those are his two names for his avatars, right? And so when they create a product, when they create some sort of marketing campaign, they ask themselves as a team, would Julie buy this? Would Julie be the one who'd come over and get this particular product or service? If Julie would buy it, then they can move forward. If Julie, that avatar, would not buy it because of something that contradicts in their particular personality profile, then they're not going to move with that product because it doesn't fit their ideal target market, right? But it takes time for you to sit down and create those avatars, those two individuals that this is the type of person you want to do business with. Because here's the truth. Here's the absolute truth. If you wake up every morning and you hate going to the office or you hate getting to work because you don't want to deal with a particular customer, that's your fault. You put the bait out there. Right? You're fishing for customers and you pick the bait that got that customer. So that is your fault that you're dealing with that kind of customer. Switch the bait, change the bait, and go after a different kind of fish. Go after the fish you want to go after, and that's understanding your target buyer.
So the first part is targeting the right person, and the second part is understanding that targeted person. So part one is if you want to go after restaurants, if you want to build a niche, go after those restaurant owners. Now find out in step 6, understanding the target buyer, where do those restaurant owners hang out? Where do they go? What do they buy? What do they like to do? Finding out all of those things so that you can target those people where they're already at.
That's right. I mean, that's what it comes down to. That's really what, and think about that. If you have that down, right? If your ideal avatar is a person you want to hang out with, then you're going to love going to work every day because every person that is in your client database is the type of person you want to hang out with, right? And that's exactly what you build the business that you have. So if you're not happy with the kind of clientele you have, it's your fault. Change the bait and see how that works out for you.
Heck yeah. All right. Tip number 7, improve your cold call game. This is a tough one for so many people. Go ahead.
I'm going to flip this one on its head here. So, and I'm not saying the phone is dead. I am not saying that cold calling does not work. That's not what I'm saying here. All I'm saying is I would take a different approach. So improve your cold calling game. We have moved into a new era. Yes, you use your phone, but for the most part, you don't call very much anymore. You send text messages and you send DMs, and I would take this to a whole new level. Did you know that on LinkedIn you can send a video DM? Did you know you can do that on Instagram? Did you know you can do that on Facebook? If you send a video message to somebody, first of all, it's going to go directly into their inbox. They're going to see it, right? And second, you're now differentiating yourself from everybody else, right? Everybody else might send a DM like, hey, were you interested in buying insurance? And it's just some text and they're just going to ignore it. But when you send a video, it's almost like sending a handwritten note. You say their name in the video, you say the day that you're working on, you tell them that you're going to offer them something that of value, and this is all they got to do is reach out. People will often at least give you a like. You'll see a little comment, hey, I've never had that kind of approach before, whatever it is. It starts the conversation. So improve your cold call game.
I'm going to jump ahead to 8 here because I want to build on that, exactly what you're talking about. When it comes to sending that video message, do a little bit of research on your prospect if you can too. So somebody that you are targeting, remember, first of all, we're targeting specific people, specific types of people. We're understanding our target buyers by kind of generalizing and stereotyping, like you're saying, and finding out where our restaurateurs hang out at, or where our contractors hang out at, and the things that they like to do. When we do a little bit of research on that prospect, we can go back to those things that we know about the generalization, right? The general industry, and then dig down even deeper to have a video message specifically for that person with a little bit of something that we learned while we're doing a little bit of research, or you can call it Facebook stalking or whatever it is, right? You're doing research on your prospect. You're going into their website maybe and figuring out some things that make them different or special. And you're going to send them that video message. You're going to say, hey, I saw on your website that you are the #1 ranked roofer in the San Diego County. That's amazing. I'm really happy to be able to connect with you, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Dude, that's perfect. And here's another heads up. You guys can leave video comments. So if you're scrolling through your Facebook page and you see something and it's maybe a risk that they didn't know about, you can leave a quick little video as a comment instead of just typing it out, and let them know. The cool thing is now everybody who commented on that feed is going to look at that video and be like, what did he say? And they're going to look at it and they're going to answer. They're going to see your answer. So it's about multiplying the amount of exposure that you get and using social media to your advantage, and using that idea of cold calling. Most of the people that you're going to talk to when you send them a DMs, yeah, they're your quote unquote friends or your connection, but you don't really know them. So you gotta work on your cold calling skills, whether you up your game into the video DM phase, or by all means, pick up the phone and give them a call.
100%. Moving on to number 9. Tip number 9 here is to know your competition. There's a lot of it out there, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely know who they are, what they're offering, and what makes them different. We've talked about this before. When it comes to building a business, right? It's so much easier, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with a whole new way to do something. Find out who's doing what you want to do and mimic them, copy them, do what they're doing. If you are building an insurance agency, Nan, real quick, what's the #1 insurance agency in the country that
I know, like, off the top of my head?
Yeah, like one of the top sales, one of the top insurance companies in the country.
We are Farmers.
Boom. What are they doing? Give them a call. How do they answer their phones? What types of questions do they ask you? Look at their logo and their marketing, and find ways to mimic what they're doing. Knowing your competition is doing your research on them so that you can not necessarily look exactly like them and have the same feel, because that's not what you want. You want to stand out, but what are they doing and how can you build on that and improve it?
And let's move into our last little piece here, because you're exactly right. Put a spotlight on the incumbent. So once you know your competition, once you've realized their strengths and their weaknesses, you can put a spotlight on some of that stuff. So you can start your presentation with, look, I know you've been going to State Farm. I know you've been going to Farmers. I know you've been going to Austin. I know you've been going to whatever other insurance agency, and they've been doing X, Y, and Z for you. But what they're not doing is this. Wouldn't it be nice if you had somebody who can take care of this X, Y, and Z? By the way, let me show you what we offer, right? So that way they know, look, I understand you're already here. I understand that this is what you're doing, but you're missing out on this opportunity. This opportunity could do X, Y, Z to your particular, to your bottom line, to, this is the way how you're at risk. This is how we can solve that problem. show them the hole in their coverage essentially, and then provide the solution. Show them what the competition is providing them. Yes, acknowledge it, but also show them the weaknesses that are in that particular professional choice they've made, and then show them how you can take that opportunity to plug that hole for them.
100%. And also, if you're able, take a look at their existing policy and figure out ways that you can improve their coverage and find gaps in their coverage that you can fill. If you're able to do that, if you can find a way to say, hey, look, I'm looking at this homeowners policy, for example, and you don't have enough coverage. You're way underinsured, or you're way overinsured, or whatever the case might be. Find ways to highlight those things so that you can make that extra sale out of that. All right, so there you go. Those are your 10 sales strategies for today. Once again, as always, please remember to hit that like button, give us a rate, a review, hit the subscribe button down there, wherever it is, so that you can be notified when we go live, which is every day, usually at 2:30, but the past couple of days it's been at 2 o'clock. Follow me on all those social medias at Insurance Bro Show. And if you want to be a guest, go ahead and go to www.insurancebroshow.com/guest and sign up for your interview date today. All right. Anything else to add?
Just
have a nice day.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for tuning in to the Carrier Experience Podcast. James is the CEO of the Pipeline team of San Diego and is always in the market for top talent. If you are an agent looking for a place to hang your license, visit pipelineinsurance.com/agent opportunities or send an email to newagent@pipelineinsurance.com. You can find James on all social media at Insurance Broham.